Good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us for another episode of Reawaken Your Brilliance. I am Skyping in tonight from Natchitoches, Louisiana, and for you Trivial Pursuit buffs and people that Jeopardy, Natchitoches is the home of Steel Magnolias, and my special co-host tonight is one of the original Steel Magnolias and the real deal, and much better than anything you'd see on the movies, Sybil Rhodes. So,
Hi.
Thanks for joining me. So every time I start the show, I like to have a thought of the day. And I'd like to tell you my thought of the day tonight is Sybil Rhodes. And I'm going to encourage you to either be like Sybil in your life, which is to live your life to the fullest. She has lived life better than anyone I've ever met, has squeezed more out of life than anyone I know. And I've had the privilege of knowing her since I was 19, and she served as an inspiration for me. But not only has she lived her life, she has been someone that I and many others could turn to for advice, just to have someone to listen. And it's really wonderful to have someone love you unconditionally and support your dreams. And she has done that for me. So I'd encourage you to get out there and find a Sybil. And if you're someone that's like Sybil, I'd encourage you to find others that you can mentor and be an inspiration to. Because I think the world would be a better place if we loved each other more, we accepted each other, and we listened to one another. And so that is my thought for this evening. And I also want to say that the inspiration behind Reawaken Your Brilliance, for those who are tuning in for the first time, is that I provide body, mind, and spirit extraordinary experts. And my goal is to help you reawaken your brilliance. You know, we're all perfect, and then life happens to us. Maybe we experience a breakup or lose a job, and then we take on things and forget that we're perfect the way we are. So as we heal, we allow each other to heal. So I'm really excited about tonight's guest. This is something I don't know a lot and is an energy technique that's fairly new, so I'd like to tell you about her. Maria Kramer is the founding director of the Empowered Heart Center in New York. She became an integrated energy therapist, master instructor in 2003, and is also an ordained interfaith minister, mystic, and New Earth Unity Consciousness teacher, dedicated to healing the world to peace as she guides others to awaken to the peace and love they are within, remembering the truth of their being. She is the author of Prayers to Awaken Peace and Love and the CD Healing Pyramid Meditation. She is also a master instructor trainer, UC and Karuna Reiki master, hypnotist, rising star healer, and prima birthing practitioner, a Visa quantum healer, and EFT practitioner. She has an extensive IET teaching record and has been one of the top IET master instructors for the last 5 years. Welcome, Maria.
Thank you.
We're so excited to have you here.
It's so exciting to be a part of it here with you. Thank you so much for having me. There I am.
There you are. Can you see? There we go. So, Maria, can you start off and tell us what exactly is integrated energy therapy?
Well, integrated energy therapy is an amazing modality that works with the angelic realm in really integrating our energy body. And the premise is that everything that we've ever experienced lives in the body memory. Everything we've ever thought in our minds is in our minds. It's stuck in here. All your facts and figures we remember. However, everything we've ever felt and everything we've ever experienced is located in our cellular memory in our body. So integrated energy therapy really takes all the negative experiences we've had from the past that are now driving programs that are not supporting us in living joy, and it helps really bring us into the present moment so that we can really live our brilliance in the future.
That's wonderful. Now, when you talk about the angelic realm, can you expand on that? Is that working with archangels, your angel guides? What exactly is that?
Well, the angelic realm is a vibrations that's outside of this physical realm that we live in here. And so they are messengers and ways that we connect to the divine. And there are many different types of angels. There's archangels, like you've mentioned. There are quote unquote regular angels. There are cherubs, and that's some of the things that I work with. And there are also personal guides and angels that we all have. Every single one of them, us have personal guides and angels, whether we are aware of them or not. And they support us in our journey unceasingly and patiently from before we're born to the moment we're born into this body until we leave this body on this planet.
I think that's wonderful, but I think so many times we forget that we have angels in our life. Is there any suggestions that you can have to people maybe to connect with that, or if they're feeling disconnected, that might allow them to remember that the angels are there looking after them and to support them?
Yes. Probably the best way is to ask. One of the laws that angels work under is they cannot impede upon human will. So we really have to reach out and ask for their help. They will not intercede for us without we giving them permission. So that's how much they love us. So one way is meditation is probably one of the best ways I know how to connect with the angelic realm. It's really going within and then connecting to the angels or whatever divine energy that you would like. Many traditions are very used to angels. In the Christian and in many traditions, we are familiar with Gabriel, the messenger, Michael, the protector, and Raphael, the healer, the archangels. And with IT, we work with an angel called Ariel, an archangel Ariel, and she's also very familiar in history. And she's the angel that really takes care of the humans and the animals and helps us live our soul's mission and soul's purpose.
Now, I want to remind everyone that's watching, if you have any questions for Maria, you can call in at 919-518-9773, or I know we have listeners around the country. You can Skype in at Computers 2K Voice. So, Maria, how did you find out about integrated energy therapy? What was going on in your life? How did you find this?
Well, I was really on a path of healing, and I think we all start our healing journey when we have crises, and we're like looking for things to support us in moving out of pain and into more peace. And so I was actually at my having a session with my Reiki master one afternoon, and she was telling me she went to a workshop the night before with a woman who gave a presentation on angels, and she was compelled to hold a class in her home for this beautiful lady, Denise. And I said, well, and she asked, I'm going to have this class. Are you going to come? And I said, well, what is it about? She says, I can't explain it. Are you going to be there? And she said it 3 times, and I finally, okay, I'll be there. And I attended the class. It was April 21st, 2002. And I would say about an hour into the class, I knew my life had just changed a whole different direction than I thought it was going to be. And I was hooked on working with the angels, if you will, and it changed my life. And that's sort of how I fell into it.
Now, Maria, we have a question from Warrior Spirit.
Yes.
And they say on chat, there seems to be a lot of angel stuff out there. What's different here?
The integrated energy therapy, the angels that we work with in IET, is a group of 9 specific angels that have come together to bring healing to the planet and to humanity at this time. Many of the angels are familiar in other places, but it's a group of angels that's actually come together for a specific purpose, and to really help us clear our cellular memory, to bring more peace to ourselves, And so therefore we can be more peaceful, interacting with other people and really helping us lift into the energy of joy, because that's the natural state of our being. And so there are 9 different cellular memory areas we help clear with IET, and each angel is assigned one of those areas to help us facilitate healing and clearing. That's what's different than some of the other processes that are out there.
Sybil's got a question for you, Maria.
Maria,
Yes.
Are your angels under the guidance of a larger being?
Could you please say that one again?
Are your angels under the guidance or direction of a bigger human being or a bigger force?
I think my feeling and my connection and my belief is that they're all connected to source energy. That one God, one source, whatever we may choose to call it, creative spirit. So they're just a little bit, they're guides and intercessors that work through that. It's all source energy. It's just we choose to call them angels because many people feel we can't really reach up straight to the divine. And so whether it's these angels or other angels, they're sort of a way for us to reach up. Did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Can you combine IET with other therapies, or could you tell us that? And how does a typical session work?
Okay. Yes, you can combine it with other therapies. It's very easy to add on to Reiki or touch therapy, or even in hypnosis or EFT, or even a lot of talk therapy. People are beginning to use the angels and work with them in that. Massage. It can be a standalone, or you can add it into anything that you already are doing.
We have a question now from Sky, and I want to remind everyone you can call in at 919-518-9773 or Skype in at Computers 2K Voice. Sky would like to know, how can someone experience an integrative energy therapy session?
Okay, there are multiple different ways. One is you can experience a session in person. You find an integrated energy therapy practitioner in your local area, and you can come in and work with them. Or like I have clients that come to me. I'm doing a lot of work through phone and distance work. I do a lot of phone work over Skype. And I have actually worked with people all over the world right now. So it's really amazing. You don't necessarily have to be in person to experience a session, but you can also do it that way.
So you could do a session via Skype?
Yes.
So can you tell me, because until I met you, I had never heard of IET. Can you give me a little bit of the background, who developed it, kind of how it got started?
Absolutely. It was developed by an amazing, amazing being by the name of Stephen Thayer. And he began, like all of us, one of the things he always says is, pain is the mother of invention, to come up with new ways to move out of it. And so he was doing energy work, and Ariel, Archangel Ariel, began to come into his sessions, and he began to channel her, and she brought in the other 8 angels, and IET was created as she was guiding him what to do with his hands, and and they created this integrated energy therapy modality. It was I think it's about 1987 that he really started working with it a lot. And then over a 7-8 year period, he did hundreds and thousands of clients where he was really tracking the record of, how is this really helping people. And in 1994, he taught the first class. And we now have, we're in 67 countries. We have 44,000 practitioners worldwide. and it's literally been expanded through word of mouth. And the mission of IET is really to heal the world one heart at a time.
I love that. Now we have another question from my co-host Sybil.
Maria, I believe you say you have said that you have 9 angels that you work with in your program, correct?
Yes.
And so, how were these 9 angels chosen?
They weren't chosen; they chose Stephen.
Oh, okay.
And so they came to him and said, as he was working on each cellular memory area, a new angel came forth and said, I am the one that's working with this area and will help you to facilitate healing for people regarding the issues that we work with in these areas on the different parts of the body.
So do you invoke them by name as you're working with them, or can a person be given the information and they can invoke the angel themselves?
The facilitator can invoke them in the session, and you can also learn who the angels are and invoke them yourselves, yes.
We have a couple questions on chat too, Maria, and I want to remind everyone you can call in a question at 919-518-9773 or Skype in at Computers 2K Voice. Sky would like to know, great question, what kinds of issues can IET help with?
Oh, any issue under the sun. One of the quotes that we really use with IET is that it's really the next level of healing with the angels, and its purpose is to get the issues out of the tissues. So it can be anywhere from physical pain, it can be mental pain, emotional pain. I've used it well with allergic reactions to medication or breathing allergies. I've learned it great. A lot of people I work with have had abuse issues. So it really helps facilitate releasing the trauma out of the cellular memory. So those programs are no longer running, so you can have more peace in the moment and therefore be more empowered. It can be used for if you have mental programming, a lot of guilt or shame or anger, or it's a great anger management process. It's people have a lot of fears. I've used IET to overcome the fear of driving over bridges, which is one that I had. And after doing one session, the fear was gone. So it can be used for many different things.
Maria, can you maybe expand a little bit about when you talk about things, the issues in the tissues and being on the cellular level? What do you mean by that?
I mean that every experience that you've ever had literally begins to reside in your cellular memory. It's like every cell is a little database, just like your brain is a little database. We're on the computer right now, and there's a database. You ever see the movie with Jim Carrey, Bruce Almighty?
Yes.
In how, God says, here is your life, and there's a tiny little file cabinet, and all of a sudden it just keeps going and going and going. That's sort of everything we've ever experienced in this lifetime and other lifetime, all prior lifetimes, is stored in our spiritual DNA and in our cellular memory area. Every single cell in our body is almost like a little database of everything we've ever experienced, whether it was the great pizza I had, in 1977, or it was, my first bicycle or my first spanking or whatever it might be. And so what happens is that it resides, and it's almost like when you know about the subconscious, we have tapes that are running consciously by having compounding experiences, right? And so all of a sudden we have automatic things that begin to run our programs and how we see life, and we become afraid of things, or we choose not to do things anymore. or we might feel depressed, we might feel anger arise, we might get triggered by different circumstances. Sometimes you might be triggered by somebody you're meeting and having a conversation with, and it either allows anger or anxiety to arise within you, but it's not really that person. It's just something that's triggering something similar from a long time ago. And that's because it's in the database. Does that make sense?
Excellent. Yes, absolutely. I just wanted, in case anyone didn't understand that, thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah.
We also have another question from Teresa, and she would like to know, is there a list or website I can find an IET therapist near me?
Yes. You can go on learniet.com, www.learniet.com. And that's Stephen Thayer's website.
And we also have another question from Sky. He or she would like to know, can IET help with addictions or habitual patterns in relationships?
Absolutely. It can help with addictions and habitual patterns in relationships, because all addictions are unresolved emotional issues. It's just a way to soothe all addictions, whether it's drug addictions, it's food, it's workaholism, it's alcohol. All addictions are literally unresolved emotional issues. In other words, where we're not feeling loved. And so we're reaching for something else to an external source to soothe us. So by releasing all the trauma, all the hurt, or the pain through the IET session and bringing in more loving energy, we start to feel more loved because we're filling ourselves up with love and realizing that it's really about self-love and connecting to the divine. And once we are filled completely, we really don't need an external source anymore to make us feel complete.
So when you're talking about the cellular level, so it's kind of almost like what I call the drug of choice, eating, sex, drugs, alcohol. Is it almost like we're on autopilot because that's what's become so ingrained, and that's just our automatic response? Very
often. Nowadays, it's the addiction, but it's the habit of the habit that we're stuck in. Which is exactly, it's like the old records. Remember the vinyl records? I still have some, where all of a sudden it started to go in the groove and go, and it sort of needs a little help to get out of the groove or create a new one. We're literally just habitual. We become more addicted to habits than anything else. Just like you said, we're an automatic anymore. We're not even thinking about it.
Maria, we have a couple requests on chat, and I want to remind everyone you can call in at 919-518-9773 or Skype in at Computers 2K Voice, and I promise Maria, Sybil, and I don't bite, and we will get your question answered. But we have a couple requests from Teresa and Warrior Spirit. Would you be able to do a demonstration of IET?
I can't, I'm going to do a little exercise for everyone, and I'm going to do a little 5-minute empowerment session on people. I can't physically show you a demonstration, but I will, because a lot of it has been copyrighted. But I want to make sure that you have an experiential of what it's like to receive some of the angelic energy in what we call a 5-minute empowerment. So that is part of what I have planned for everyone to be able to experience tonight. So you have some sort of feeling of what does this feel like and how can it work for me?
Excellent. Yeah, we want to make sure we don't violate any copyright laws or put you in an awkward position. Is that something that you would be able to demonstrate with us now?
If you would like.
And I just want to remind everyone, if you're driving, because I know you can listen on your smartphone, don't do this. We archive everything. I don't want you getting distracted while you're driving. So it will be here. So go ahead, Maria, take it away.
Okay. So if you're not driving, keep your hands or keep your eyes wide open. If you are sitting at home and you're comfortable, just allow yourself to just relax for a little bit. And I'm just going to literally, I'm going to send you some, I'm just going to connect with the angels. And I don't know how many are on, but I'm going to connect to each and every one who has connected in here on this call tonight. And I'm also going to ask that anyone who connects through the video in the future might also receive a blessing. Okay. So what you might even choose to experience, just imagine that you are sitting in your favorite spot, a sacred spot that's filled with light. That's really comfortable. Maybe it's on the beach or in the forest or in the woods. And just allow yourself to listen to all the birds and all the sounds and the butterflies. And you may even imagine that you are connecting. Imagine that there's a beautiful column of light from the divine that's just flowing down, allowing it to go straight into the top of your head, filling your entire body, all the way down to your feet. And I'm just putting you through a little guided meditation as I'm doing the process, because it'll take about 5 minutes. And as you're calling in this light, if you focus on your breath and you breathe in, as you breathe in this white light, say to yourself silently, I am love. And as you breathe out the energy, breathe out, I love. And just focus on breathing in the energy of I am love. And letting the energy of I love flow out through your body. Because that is the pure essence of our being. We are not this body. We are the pure essence of the energy of unconditional love. And you may just even feel this beautiful light just flow through every single part of your cells, like little champagne bubbles, feeling the energy of I am love. And I love. And so as I or as I move and do this 5-minute empowerment on you, you may feel different sensations in different parts of your body. You may feel bubbling. You may feel greater sense of peace. And so what's very typical for me is when I flow a lot of this angel energy, because it's so joyful, it's such a high vibration, it works with the violet ray. You just feel like giggling, and it brings so much joy through. And you may feel that as well.
So, Maria, I'd like to comment. Sybil and I were able to experience a longer version of this. You were kind enough to do that to us today. And so since I had never done it before, I thought it would be helpful if we talked about our experience. For me, I didn't feel like giggling. I definitely felt energy and wanted to burst into tears at one point, which I would view as a release. But as I told you, it was amazing feeling the energy in my hands. And what you explained to me is I had felt energy from my feet to about my calves. And so you had said that was getting rid of blockages, right? Kind of letting the energy come through wherever the issue was being stored in the body.
Correct.
And I felt
so it's a lot like if we've had every negative experience we've ever had causes a blockage in our energy system, and it lodges as something in our cellular memory. So when we release that, it's a lot like what I gave the example of the Morganza spillway when they pulled open some of those doors, and all of a sudden that water just flooded through. And so that's a little bit like what it happens when we release blockages or that's in our system. Yes.
And Sybil, do you want to comment on your experience?
Yes, I felt great peace. But I frequently lay down and do the same things as you're telling us right now. That is to sort of remove myself, so to speak, from the world, and get into a cocoon of just a beautiful world, and so much peace comes over you. And that is what I felt today, too.
Yes. And the more that we can connect with that peace, the better it is for our body, mind, and spirit. The more that we connect with that peace, we remember the brilliance that we are. See, it's all our negative thought patterns, our judgment ourselves that are constantly weighing us down, or the judgments that others have put upon us ever since we can remember. And we become really good judges ourselves at some point in life. And so we really need to find ways to begin to cease to judge so much and step more into joy and just being in that flow of life, and remember that we are just, we're spirits in this beautiful body.
We have a couple of questions on chat, Maria, and I want to remind everyone, if you have a question, feel free to call in at 919-518-9773 or Skype in at Computers 2K Voice. Sky would like to know, how do you feel after an IET session, and how long does a session take?
That's a great question. People feel, I would say most people feel a great sense of peace. They feel energized, and they feel like a lot of big stones have been taken out of their backpack, and they feel a lot lighter. And they're really charged up and feel much more joy and can move on with their day. Some people, very few, who have held on to a lot of emotion for a very long time might feel a little tired afterwards and just need to be a little more gentle with themselves in allowing the energy to integrate and settle in. Because sometimes it's like when we've carried a heavy load for a while, like groceries, and all of a sudden you put them down, you realize, wow, that was really a heavy bag, but you don't realize it while you're carrying it. But I would say 9 times out of 10, people feel so much lighter and much easier. And a session can be anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour, 75 minutes, an hour and a half, depending on how much work and, the person in the local area, how they work. My sessions are around an hour to 75 minutes because I really want to make sure I cover everything. I don't want to leave people hanging and say, hold on to that one till next time. So, and by the time, you have a little chat and you talk and, people come out, because sometimes people go really deep in our sessions. So I hope that answered the question.
Now, Maria, I know that everyone's different, and for instance, if you're dealing with someone that's has suffered severe trauma, that perhaps might take longer than, say, someone that was in a minor car accident. But can you tell us roughly, 6 to 8 sessions? Do you have a kind of a timeline for people that might want to know that?
I think you were very correct, and it really varies. Some people just come in because they want to de-stress the week, and they come in once a month. If you have a specific issue if it's more of a general healing, I just want, like people go for massage, they just want to feel better. And there's a lot of people use IET for that. For those that are working on really serious or heavier issues, it could be anywhere from 3 to 20 sessions over a period of time. So it really depends on the person and the severity of the issues. So did that answer your question?
Yes, although, I always ask for the Eckhart Tolle special, which is 1 night of darkness and then completely healed. But
yes, and that does happen. Some people have that 1 session miracle. So that, they can happen. But it's, and I see things facilitating much quicker now in the energies that we're in now than they did 5 or 6 or 10 years ago. We're able to clear so many things much faster now because people are also ready. And we're running out of time. We have to.
Yeah.
So it's really important we all really connect to that brilliance within us now. There was one.
My co-host Sybil has a question. I'm afraid I'm going to be out of a job soon, but we're going to let her ask her question.
I'm thinking about taking over for her. No, only kidding. Maria, when you have a certain topic that you have determined that you're going to be working with that client, you then have a certain angel that comes into play. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, that was my question.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Now, with that said, when we call upon Archangel Ariel, she's sort of the head honcho, and she brings in all the other angels. We work with Raphael, with Gabriel, with Celestina, with Faith, with Cassiel, Daniel, Sarah, and Archangel Michael. That's the 9 angels that we work with. So you can call each one of them in specifically to that issue or that cellular memory area you're working on. Or if we call Ariel in, they typically all come in as a group. It's more for our 3-dimensional living that we want to have things in boxes, and we say, this is for this situation and this is for this situation. When in truth, one of the things Ariel has taught us is that there's really only one angel. Just like there's really, everything is in oneness. There's really only one human being. It's just in this dimension, we like to have a name for everything and put things in order in a different format.
Now, Maria, we have some more questions on chat for you, and I want to remind everyone, if you chat in the question, we'll make sure to get it asked, or you can call in at 919-518-9773 or Skype in at Computers UK Voice. Now, Teresa would like to know, in a session, do you lay down, sitting, and are you fully dressed?
That's an awesome question. Yes, and yes. Most people in a session would lay on a massage table and they will be fully dressed. And sometimes I do chair treatments for some people that can't lay on chairs. So sometimes it's a very, you can also do chair treatments very effectively, but table treatments are the most common and the most comfortable. And definitely everybody is fully dressed, yes.
And she'd also like to know, how frequently can you have sessions? Can you have more than one session a week?
You can have a session every day. I do IET on myself every single day. It's part of my protocol, like you brush your teeth and you take a shower and you brush your hair. The 5-minute empowerment that I offered this evening, I do that every day, because it's not just about cleaning out the past. We interact with people every single day, and so new experiences come in. So it's sort of like, dusting ourselves and keeping ourselves clean in our cellular memory so we can live more in a peaceful state. Some people do it weekly, some people come monthly, some people come twice a year. My mission and purpose with working with IET is to serve clients, yes, but my mission is to really create masters in helping others become empowered to heal themselves.
Yeah, that's exactly. I love hearing that, because that's the premise for the show. I want to help people to quit sleepwalking through life and being the walking wounded and being the best that they can be at whatever that is. And like you mentioned earlier, loving themselves and feeling full of love. Now we have another question from Sky on chat. How can I learn to do IET? Can anyone learn, or are there prerequisites?
Anybody can learn. A 3-year-old can learn. There are no prerequisites. IET is a system that's set up in, 4 modules, if you will. There is a basic integrated energy therapy class where you sort of learn the basic. There's an intermediate level where you go a little bit more deeper. There's an advanced class where you really, the first 2 really focus on getting the issues out of your tissues and clearing your karmic patterns and your mental programming. And the advanced class really focuses more on helping you align with and live your soul's mission and your soul's purpose. Many people are not. And so that's designed to really help us connect with that. And then we have a 4th module, which is called the Master Instructor class, where it's really about living your reach. If you could do anything in this world, and it seems too good to be true, that's probably what you're here to do for your soul's purpose in this lifetime. So it really helps, that class helps to really begin to take action in moving forward to that, as well as for those that take the master class, will also be certified to teach the basic, intermediate, and advanced class.
Now, Maria, can you talk? I think that's great if people want to learn that for themselves, but can you talk a little bit about how someone can find, I know you mentioned the website earlier, but how do you know that someone's certified, or is there a certification? You're, I believe, a master instructor. So I guess I want people to know, how do I know that they've really been trained in IET? They're not just someone who is saying they have, but they haven't.
That's a great question. One of the things I love about Stephen Thayer is that he really has put a system in place that every student who takes the basic class, every student who takes an intermediate class, an advanced class, and a master class is entered through a class list to the Center of Being. And they keep tab on everybody who has ever taken classes. And if you want to take an advanced class, for example, but you haven't taken basic and an immediate class, you can't take it because you need to show proof to the teacher that you have taken this class and that you become certified in it. So you're certified through the Center of Being. So it's very organized, and that's extremely helpful.
Can you maybe talk about how IET is a little different than other energy healing, like Reiki, for instance? You've also trained in that and a few other energy modalities. So what's the difference?
Between Usui Reiki and IET, the difference is Reiki primarily is a passive energy, where you are a conduit for a universal and love energy to flow through you to your client. And the premise is that love, if we flow it long enough, it will heal everything within the body and the mind and the spirit. With IET, it's a more active energy. because although we also flood the energy with love and is a conduit for that, by touching the different integration points that I did with everyone tonight, I'm actually going in and I am releasing the negative energy out of someone's cellular memory, so that's no longer in there. So it facilitates clearing and healing much quicker than perhaps through some of the other modalities. And I like the active participation of the facilitator as they're guided by the angels in how to do this. And that's sort of the main difference that I feel. It's also a different vibration than Usui Reiki. It works with the violet ray, and it's really more in the heart chakra. It's really based on everything is centered around making the heart the root, whereas Usui Reiki works at a different vibration.
We have a couple questions for you. They're similar, but I want to make sure I cover them on chat. True Seeker says, sounds really cool. How long are the training sessions? And then Sky asked, how long does it take to complete the training?
Okay, the classes typically run, the basic, intermediate, and advanced classes are all one-day classes. And they typically will run from 9:30 to 6 or something like that, depending on the instructor. And the master class is a 2-day training. 9 to 5 approximately on a Sunday or Saturday and a Sunday. What was the second question?
How long does it take to complete the trainings?
It's very individual. For me, it took a year. I started in April of 2002. I took my intermediate in that November or December. January, I took advanced. In March 2003, I took my master class. I've had students that have taken basic, intermediate, and advanced one weekend and the master and master class the following weekend. So in 1 week, they kind of move through the whole thing. So it's very individual, and I guide people to use their own intuition and guidance and ask the angels, what's for my highest good in the speed and rate I move through this. Don't follow what somebody else's did. Really go within and find your own answer.
So I'd like to know, you've studied all these different things. You have a really diverse and amazing background, but I can hear the passion that you have for IET. And you talked about how it personally helped you, but was there an aha moment that happened, or is it working with people? You're all about self-love, and that I think you're so right on about stuff. So is there, has you just seen it help a lot of people, or what's kind of the driving force behind that?
I think one of the things that I really felt so connected with IET and why it's my passion is because it has helped me personally on so many levels in clearing out my pain and my negative running things and all the traumas I've had in my life. I think we all go into this field because we want to heal ourselves, and if we find something that really works for us, we want to share it with others. It's probably the one modality that I feel has empowered me to become really adept at healing myself more than any other modality. And the energy of working with the angels helped me connect to help me heal the abandonment I felt from God or from the divine. There was a point in time I really felt separated and alone. And it was really, even though I did a lot of the other modalities, it wasn't until IET I connected with the angels that I felt, wow, I'm not alone anymore. And that has been huge for me. And, just knowing that and beginning to feel their presence. I wasn't clairvoyant or clairsentient or clairaudient at all before I started IET. And I am more clairaudient. I hear messages come through. I can feel their presence. And sometimes I get images. So it has really been a tremendous help for me to look beyond this dimension and connect with an energy of unconditional love that is so sweet and gentle that I haven't found anywhere else.
It's interesting that you mentioned, I know a little bit about feng shui, and for a while, I still have them everywhere. I collect angels. Anything angel, I love. Like, that's why I was so excited to hear about IET when I met you. But in feng shui, they say whatever you collect, you feel like is missing or lacking from your life. And so my aha moment was, I felt unprotected and unloved.
Yeah.
And so once I was able to switch that inside of me, I no longer felt the need to have, and I love them, so I still have my angels around, but it's no longer had to collect them. It didn't become like, oh my gosh, I have to have them everywhere around me. I have a nice comment on chat, and we have another question that you are an earth angel. Someone is giving you that nice compliment.
Thank you.
We have a question from Cheese Goddess, and he or she says, I have a bad diet. Will this help me eat better and lose weight?
It can, because the reason why we have a bad diet is, well, we live in United States, but we're very good at, eating foods that are not necessarily so healthy. But it's still that when we're not treating our body as a temple, that's here to serve us and taking care of it, it's because, again, there's those unresolved issues of unworthiness and of not feeling loved within us. And so we've used food in whatever form that is to soothe ourselves and to punish ourselves. I had a food issue many years ago, so I can fully, I'm compassionate, and I understand, what it's like to deal with food in that area. And IT can definitely help in that area, because the more of the pain that we release and the more love that we put in its place in whatever the segment of love that you're needing, will fully fill you up, so that you won't go to the food, and you'll begin to really appreciate your body, and that you are a beautiful spirit and soul inhabiting this body, and you want to take care of it better. It's almost like a car. For those people, when you get a brand new car, you take really well care of it. And there are others that let their cars go. So, but it's a vehicle to really move us, have phenomenal experiences in while we're on this earth plane. So yes, it can. I hope that answered your question.
No, I thought that was great, and I just kind of had an aha moment. We need to get you out there more, because think about, it's definitely an issue with women in the United States, but, how our bodies are, and, they expect us, like the other day, Karl Lagerfeld called the beautiful singer Adele fat. And, she's probably the average size of the U.S. woman, and then we're taught to hate ourselves. So I think that would be really wonderful. Now, we have another question from Sky, and he or she would like to know, how much does a session cost?
A session cost, it depends. It's what I've noticed. It's very different depending on where in the demographic area in the country you are. Here in New York, I charge $100 for a session. Some people charge more. Some people charge $50. That's more out in rural areas. So it really depends on what you rent, what's the cost of living in the area that you're living in. But I think about the going rate is very similar to massage and Reiki. So it's somewhere between, I would say most of the fees I have seen is between $75 and $150 for a session.
Now, Maria, I want to ask you, someone out there might be struggling. They might be going through divorce. They might be unemployed. They might be dealing with some unresolved trauma. Mm-hmm. What advice would you give to them?
Oh, having gone through all of those you just mentioned, they are amazing gifts that have been brought on our path to really go within and ask questions. Why am I here? What's my purpose? Why is this such a challenging, painful experience I'm having now? what is my view of myself, that I'm experiencing victim energy or judgment, and I can't come out from this. And with all of those things, it's about finding out, who am I? What worth do I have? And finding a way to love yourself unconditionally and not worship other people's opinions and follow other people's judgments and suggestions if they're not really in alignment with who your truth is. All those experiences are put in our past so we can really go within and find out, who is my authentic self? I'm here to live joy. One angel, Zadkiel, talks about, if it doesn't bring you joy, why are you doing it? And
great.
That's one thing I put in my face every single morning if I'm about to do something that doesn't bring me joy. Why am I doing it? Ariel also says our soul's purpose is to be love. And to love, that's the only reason why we're here on this planet.
Now we've got another question from Good Vibrations. Well, She's Goddess has a comment that you're very sincere. And Good Vibrations would like to know, have you ever had someone who didn't respond to IET? And if you did, why not?
I'm trying to look back over the last 10 years. No, I haven't. Everybody responded in some way or some fashion. I've never had anybody have a negative experience. There may have had people who all of a sudden had a lot of release, on a physical or emotional level, but there was a tremendous sense of peace and release of stress, even if that was the only thing that they felt.
So Maria, I've got to ask you this too, because I'm about getting off the couch. What one step can people take at this moment, this evening, or tomorrow morning to reawaken their brilliance?
Find a way. Meditate is the first thing I would say. Really find something that you can take. Being still and knowing that I am. That's one of the most profound things we can do. The other one is when I was doing the process and you were asking for, and I was guiding people to breathe in, I am love, and breathing out, I love. That's another great thing to do. Really finding a way to bless and fall in love with yourself. And even if it's just your fingernail, just saying, I really appreciate my fingernail. Something to step into gratitude. I'm grateful for putting macaroni and cheese on the table today, if that's all you can do. Somehow find a way to step into gratitude and call out to the angels to ask for help.
We have another question from Good Vibrations who says, I asked because I do energy work and have found one person who didn't respond to love and needed something else. They're questioning if they needed. Do you have any thoughts about that?
That's the only thing I know is that whenever people have, whoever I work with, and I guess it's based on what my experience has been and what I need, most people at their core, they need love. We either run by fear or we run by love. So love can come in many forms and facets, but love is the ultimate healer of everything. That's my concept and what I have come to embrace. But not everybody has to find their truth.
Now, Maria, do you have any upcoming classes, any books coming out, and how can people find out more information about you?
Okay. Yes. You can find more information about me on my website. It's called www.awakenpeaceandlove.com. And I have, as you said, I'm actually in the process of writing 2 books with co-authoring 2 books right now. I'm not sure when they'll be coming out, but probably sometime this year. I'm working on some new CDs. But I have classes coming up, and in March, I'm doing teleclasses a lot now, and I'm really finding that great. March 1st through the middle of April, I'm doing 7 steps to transformation, where we're doing 7 different IET processes that anyone can learn, whether they're IET practitioners or not. I'm doing a Healing Angels class, teleclass in May. And I also have, in March, I'm doing integrated energy therapy certification classes. March 10th, 17th, and 24th. I'm doing Healing Angels classes in March and April. They're all on my website. And in May 5th and 6th, I'm teaching a master instructor class with Stephen Thayer in New Jersey. So there's a lot happening this spring, and it's really exciting.
Well, Maria, this is a first for Reawaken Your Brilliance, but here on chat from Single and Looking would like to know if you're married. So this might be the first marriage proposal we've had on the show.
Wow, thank you very much. I'm engaged.
Sorry, Single and Looking, come back. We've got some other women coming up. Maria, I want to thank you. This has been so enlightening and wonderful. And say your website again one more time for everyone listening.
Okay, Awaken, AWAKEN, Peace, PEACE, and AND, Love, LOVE.com.
And I want to remind our Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill listeners, Reawaken Your Brilliance is having a panel Tuesday, February 28th. And it's a great topic that Maria talked about. It's called Finding and Attracting Love. And we've got a mastermind panel, and it all starts with loving yourself. And if you're looking for that amazing relationship, and really anything in your life is going to be reflected on how much you love yourself. So you can go to reawakenyourbrilliance.com to check that out. I'm going to give a shout out to Delta Force Technologies that is sponsoring that, but our early bird pricing ends this Saturday, so I want to make sure you sign up. I'd like to thank my co-host, Sybil Rhodes.
I'd like to say to Maria, have a good life.
Thank you. Such an honor to meet you.
And
Thank you.
I want to let everyone know Sybil has agreed to do an interview on my show as well, which we will be doing and letting you know more about that. She did an interview on Breaking Free, another colleague, Marilyn Shannon, and dear friends, and hit it out of the ballpark. So we want to make sure we can't get enough Sybil, so she will be joining us here on Reawaken Your Brilliance. And I appreciate everyone. And thanks a lot, and have a great night. Bye now.
Bye.
Don't go away.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. Our weekly lineup of call-in programs includes Computers 2K Now with Amnon Nissan, Sundays, 9 a.m. to noon. Breaking Free with Marilyn Shannon, Mondays, 8 to 9 p.m. Reawaken Your Brilliance with Julie Seibert, Wednesdays, 8 to 9 p.m. And if you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it at www.nissancommunications.com.